In the heart of Colorado's Sangre de Cristo Mountains, where ancient peaks pierce the sky like cathedral spires, two teenage friends would walk into the wilderness on what should have been an ordinary summer hike. They would never walk out. This is the story of Emma Rodriguez and Jake Mitchell, best friends since childhood, honor roll students, athletes, the kind of teenagers who made their parents proud and their community feel safe. But on July 15, 2019, everything changed. What began as a routine day hike would become one of Colorado's most haunting unsolved mysteries, until 5 years later, when a single photograph would crack the case wide open. The last morning, 6:47 a.m. Emma Rodriguez ties her hiking boots in her bedroom, the same way she'd done hundreds of times before. Her mother later told investigators that Emma seemed different that morning. Quieter. More distant. Empty kitchen, coffee mug still on counter. At 7:15, Jake Mitchell's truck pulls into the driveway. Security footage shows Emma walking toward the vehicle, her backpack slung over one shoulder. She turns back once, just once toward her house. Her mother would replay that moment in her mind for the next 5 years. Truck driving away, morning shadows long across the street. The plan was simple. A day hike on the Willow Creek Trail, 8 miles round trip. Moderate difficulty. They'd done it before. They knew the route. They had supplies, water, emergency whistles. What they didn't know was that someone else was watching. The trail goes cold. 8:30 a.m. Emma's final text message. Trail is gorgeous today. See you tonight, Mom. 9:45 a.m. A park ranger spots two teenagers matching their description near the Willow Creek trailhead. They're laughing, taking selfies, acting like normal teenagers. But here's where the story takes its first disturbing turn. According to the ranger's testimony, Emma and Jake weren't alone. There was someone else, a figure in dark clothing, staying just far enough away to avoid the security cameras. Following them, when Emma and Jake failed to return by sunset, their parents' worry transformed into panic. Search and rescue teams mobilized. Helicopters swept the mountains. Hundreds of volunteers combed every inch of the Sangre de Cristo wilderness. They found Jake's water bottle, half empty, lying beside the trail at mile marker 3.2. They found Emma's hair tie, snagged on a branch 2 miles deeper into the forest. But of Emma and Jake themselves, nothing. The investigation began. Detective Sarah Chen had worked missing persons cases for 15 years. She'd seen runaway teenagers, tragic accidents, family disputes gone wrong. But Emma Rodriguez and Jake Mitchell, something about their disappearance, felt orchestrated. The evidence painted a picture that made no sense. Two experienced hikers, familiar with the trail, simply vanishing. No distress calls, no signs of struggle, no trace of where they might have gone. But Detective Chen noticed something the initial search teams had missed. The spacing between the water bottle and the hair tie, exactly 3.2 miles, followed a pattern, almost like breadcrumbs. Someone wanted those items to be found. As weeks turned to months, the investigation took on an increasingly desperate tone. Emma and Jake's families hired private investigators. Psychics offered their services. Online conspiracy theorists proposed everything from alien abduction to government cover-ups. But the mountains kept their secrets. The first year, somber, reflective. The 1-year anniversary came and went. Memorial services were held. Scholarship funds established in their names. Their high school graduated an entire class that felt incomplete. Emma's mother, Maria Rodriguez, refused to give up hope. Every weekend, she would drive to the trailhead and walk those same 8 miles, calling their names until her voice gave out. But on one of these solo hikes, Maria discovered something that would haunt her dreams. Carved into the bark of an aspen tree, about 4 miles from the trailhead, were 2 sets of initials, E.R. and J.M. Fresh. The cuts were fresh. Someone had carved them recently. Someone who knew the missing teenagers' names. The second discovery. When Detective Chen examined the tree carving, forensic analysis revealed something chilling. The cuts had been made, not with a standard knife, but with a surgical scalpel. Precise, deliberate, professional. This wasn't the work of desperate teenagers leaving a message. This was someone else. Someone who wanted to send a very different kind of message. The investigation expanded. Background checks on anyone with medical training in the area. cross-references with other missing persons cases, pattern analysis. And that's when they found him, Dr. Marcus Holloway, a former emergency room physician who had lost his medical license 3 years earlier due to irregularities in patient care. He owned a cabin less than 5 miles from where the teenagers had disappeared. When search team arrived at Holloway's cabin, they found it abandoned, but not empty. In the basement, they discovered surgical equipment, restraints, and most disturbing of all photographs. Hundreds of photographs of hikers on the Willow Creek Trail, taken with a telephoto lens from a hidden position, some dating back years. Emma and Jake were in the most recent batch. Despite the evidence at Holloway's cabin, the trail went cold again. The doctor had vanished as completely as his victims. No credit card usage, no phone records, no sightings. Years 2, 3, and 4 passed in a blur of false leads and crushing disappointments. The families aged visibly. The community moved on. The case files gathered dust. But Detective Chen never stopped looking. Late nights in her office, she would spread out maps, timeline photos, evidence reports, searching for the one detail everyone had missed. The one clue that would break everything wide open. Fade in. Forest in early morning, mist rising from ground. July 15, 2024. Exactly 5 years after Emma and Jake's disappearance, a group of geology students from Colorado State University were conducting soil surveys in a remote section of the Sangre de Cristo Wilderness, miles from any established trail. At 11:47 a.m., graduate student Kelly Martinez was using ground-penetrating radar when her equipment detected an anomaly. Something buried approximately 6 feet below the surface. Something that shouldn't have been there. The shapes were too regular to be natural, too purposeful, too human. The excavation. When the forensic team began their excavation, what they uncovered defied everyone's worst expectations. Not just remains, but a carefully constructed underground chamber. Concrete walls, ventilation system, electrical wiring that led to a hidden solar panel array camouflaged among the trees. This wasn't a grave, it was a prison. And in that prison, written on the concrete walls, in what forensic analysis would later confirm was blood, were hundreds of messages. Diary entries, pleas for help, documentation of 5 years of captivity. Emma and Jake had been alive. For years they had been alive. The final revelation. The underground chamber told a story of unimaginable endurance. Emma and Jake had survived in that concrete cell for nearly 3 years before succumbing to malnutrition and medical neglect. But their final messages revealed something that would bring the case full circle. In Emma's last diary entry, she had written the exact coordinates where they believed their captor was hiding. Those coordinates led investigators to a second underground bunker, 40 miles north, where they found Dr. Marcus Holloway. Still alive, still hiding, still planning. When arrested, he led search team to the remains of 11 other hikers who had disappeared over the past decade. 11 people whose families had never stopped hoping for answers. Emma Rodriguez and Jake Mitchell had used their final breaths not for themselves, but to ensure justice for others. Lessons from the darkness. The disappearance of Emma Rodriguez and Jake Mitchell teaches us several crucial lessons about wilderness safety and missing persons investigations that could save lives. First, the buddy system isn't enough. Even traveling in pairs, hikers can become victims of predatory individuals. Always inform multiple people of your exact route, expected return time, and establish check-in protocols. Second, trust your instincts. Emma's mother noticed her daughter's unusual behavior that morning but didn't press further. If someone close to you seems off before a potentially risky activity, ask questions. Third, technology is your friend. GPS tracking devices, satellite communicators, and smartphone apps that share real-time location data can be lifesavers. These weren't widely available in 2019, but they are now. Fourth, the importance of persistent investigation. Detective Chen's refusal to give up, even when the case seemed hopeless, ultimately brought justice to multiple families. Cold cases aren't always dead cases. Finally, community awareness saves lives. If Holloway's neighbors had reported his suspicious behavior, if hikers had shared information about feeling watched on trails, if the medical board had followed up more thoroughly on his license revocation, this tragedy might have been prevented. Emma Rodriguez and Jake Mitchell were buried together on a hillside overlooking the mountains they loved. Their families established a foundation that provides GPS devices to young hikers and funds advanced training for search and rescue teams. Their story reminds us that even in our darkest moments, the human spirit can choose to protect others. That even when evil seems to win, truth and justice can still prevail. But it also reminds us to stay vigilant, to look out for one another. Because in the wilderness, as in life, we're never truly alone.